Today, you will learn how to blend images in Photoshop perfectly just like this. It's very simple to do but also very easy to screw up, so make sure to pay attention and follow along. Okay, let's bring in our landscape. Come to File and down to Place Embedded. Select your landscape and click Place. Now I'm going to expand it to the size I want and fit it onto my canvas. Click enter, and now we have to fill this top part of our image. So to do that, select your rectangular marquee tool and create a selection of the top part of the landscape. Now click Ctrl plus J to create a selection of that part. Now click Ctrl plus T and holding Shift, drag it to cover the top part of our image. Click enter, and now no one will know this unless you tell them. Now hold Shift and select all your background layers and click Ctrl plus E to merge them. Now right click and convert it to a smart object. Now let's bring in our orange. Come to File and down to Place Embedded again. Select your orange and click Place. Now let's select our orange. Come to Select and down to Subject. Now a selection is created around your orange. Click on the mask icon and boom, you have a selection of your orange. Now click Ctrl plus T and fit your orange onto your landscape just the way you want it. I want it to look a little bigger and more juicier. Yes, now this looks okay. Click enter. So the next thing we are going to do is to create a shadow for our orange. This is going to make the orange look like it's actually touching the landscape. So come to your new adjustment layer icon and click exposure. Now reduce the exposure to a very dark level and click Ctrl plus I to invert the mask. Now zoom into the bottom of your orange and select your brush tool. Now to make your shadow look better, come up to your brush settings and squish the brush to make it look flat on the ground so that it matches your landscape angle. And make sure you have a soft brush selected and keep your flow somewhere around 10. Now paint your shadow onto your landscape to give the shadow you want. Now let's create another exposure adjustment layer. Come to your new adjustment layer icon and exposure again. Now reduce the exposure, and we are going to use this one to create a bigger shadow for our orange. Click Ctrl I. Now as you can see, the light on our landscape is coming from this angle. So definitely the shadow on our orange is going to be on the left hand side of the landscape. So zoom in and with your brush tool selected again, increase the size with the right square bracket key on your keyboard. Now paint your exposure onto the ground. Now I'm going to assume the shadow for our orange is ending somewhere around here. So with that, just zoom out. And I think I like the shadow on our orange. The orange may be too big though. Let's reduce the size a little bit. Yes, now this looks okay. Now the next thing we are going to do is to add a dark portion on the left hand side of the orange, because the light on the landscape will not hit that part. So create another exposure adjustment layer on top of your orange and click on this icon to clip it to your orange. Now reduce the exposure to make it very dark and click Ctrl plus I to invert the mask. Select your brush tool and fix it back the way it was by dragging this back up. Now let's create the dark part on our orange. Just the left hand side of the orange. Not too much, just something very subtle and beautiful. Now this looks okay. Let's create another exposure adjustment layer to create highlights on the right hand side of the orange. Create another exposure adjustment layer, clip it to your orange and increase the exposure to quite a bright amount. Now invert that mask as well, and with your brush tool selected, reduce the size of your brush with the left square bracket key on your keyboard. Now paint the highlight onto the right hand side of your orange to give this kind of bright spot on the orange. You can paint some onto the leaves as well. Now increase the brush size and create a more consistent light onto this part. So let's reduce the flow to around 5 and paint some of the highlights to this side. Now this looks fine. This looks very beautiful. Now there's one thing we have to do which we've not done yet. The background kind of looks too blue at the top. So come to your landscape and create a color balance for it. Come to color balance and drag it to create a yellow part. We want this top part to be yellow. So make it very yellow and invert the mask for the color balance as well. Now with your brush tool selected, increase the size and increase the flow a little bit. 22 is fine, and you can paint the color balance only to the top part of the landscape to make it more consistent with the rest of our landscape. Yes, now this is before and this is after. You can see the difference is very great. Now to finish up the whole thing, select your topmost layer and click Ctrl plus Shift plus Alt plus E to merge all your layers together. Now come up to filter and down to camera raw filter. Now we are going to make our image look a bit more nicer. Open your color mixer and with this image we can add some orange to it. Yeah, we can send the orange all the way to 100%, and with the yellow let's add about 30. The yellow at 30 looks very nice. Let's add a little bit of green as well. The green at 30 also is going to look fine, and I think that's okay for the color mixer. Let's add a little bit of the basic as well. The temperature is going to be warm, so let's add like 5 of the warm as well, and let's add a little bit of clarity as well. Let's make it 5. And for the effect, Let's just add a little bit of green around 5 and click OK. Now, if you want to use this same orange and landscape images I used for this blending, I'll leave a link down in the description for you to download them and you can use them for your own experiment. And there you have it, our image beautifully blended into the background. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a thumbs up, and also you can subscribe for more awesome tutorials from me in the future, and I'll see you in my next video.